are on the verge and we are losing it very fast because, as my sister Louise said, that digital platform is good, but it's like fire. It depends on what you are going to do with it. And earlier you had asked something like, was there something like that in the past? Yes, in the past when you were growing up, the platform for shaming women and the people on their sexuality and all that was the use of sisal leaves, where they would write that so-and-so is a friend to so-and-so, and everybody will read it until that sisal is old. Then when we came to the urban settlement, they could post such kind of writings, shame people or using the wall, using the toilet walls and all that, the staircase walls. And right now we have the digital platform. And as you get it very well, we are going down very fast because we think that being nude, shaming others like that is the in thing, and we are not using it well. Remember, cyber is a very powerful tool. The digital space is a very powerful tool because it is empowering. And if we don't restrict the usage, we might lose the best of it. And therefore, we should just up our game and ensure that people are restricted from such kind of behavior. Remember, internet does not forget. So if people make mistakes like what they're doing and what we don't want, let it be pulled down. Sometimes when the TV stations were introduced, they were displaying all sorts of programs until I remember they said that they are to restrict some by saying that this one is not suitable for children of this age or for people of this age. And that helped us contain from your end, from the media end, on what to show. And now it all depended on the parents to control the viewership of their children. And here again, I repeat, what do we do with our children with the mobile phones and with the television? Do we just let it be that they can watch any site, they can visit any site, or they can do whatever they want to post? And it is worrying that we need also to be strict as parents and restrict the such sites which are not palatable at all. So technology is good, and we cannot do away with it. And you've heard Florence saying that during COVID-19, many women used it. It's now the in thing, the gig economy, where you can sell from the confines of your house and reduce on the workload, especially women go through when they have to when they have to do the gender roles at home. But when we have the digital space, they can simply take 1 hour also, post their things online, and then sell. So digital space is very good. What we need to do is regulation, and as parents and as a society, be strict on the usage. Should not just consume everything which comes to us. We need to use it in a mature manner and also constructively, and at the same time take care of our morality. As much as we say we have human rights, you can do what you want, no. There are those which, if they infringe on others, then we will not allow it. So for people posting things that are not good for consumption, they should be taken care of, and they should be punished, and punished heavily. And to me, the society should be alert and do what it means, because digital bullying destroys us from achieving gender equality, which we are really striving to get, so that everybody feels he is a human being, God made, and need to stay alive in society. Thank you.
All right, and I want to take a look at that gender report I mentioned from the United Nations, and this is some United Nations, and this is some of the detail they provide. They talk about a large gender gap continues in technology and innovation despite recent improvements. Women and girls are underrepresented in industries, academia, and the broader technology sector. Globally, women hold only 2 in every 10 science, engineering, information, and communication technology related jobs. And they go on to tell us that bringing women and other marginalized groups into technology results in more creative solutions and has a greater potential for innovations that meet women's needs and promote gender equality. By contrast, excluding women from the digital world has shaved $1 trillion from the gross domestic product, that is GDP, of low and middle income countries in the last decade. And the internet, while offering significant opportunities and information, can expose women and girls to online harassment and abuse. Surveys in Colombia, Ghana, and Uganda found that women reported being concerned about personal data privacy more frequently than men. A study of 51 countries revealed that 38% of women had personally experienced online violence, which we have mentioned already, and only 1 in 4 reported it to the relevant authorities, and nearly 9 in 10 opted to limit their online activity, thereby increasing the gender digital divide. Online and ICT facilitated violence against women increased during the pandemic, as was mentioned as by Florence, as women spent more time online. Lois, could it have something to do with, you know, these biases, this chauvinism that we sometimes see exhibited online? Yeah. Is it exacerbated by the anonymity that the digital space provides?
Yeah, I think last session, Florence alluded to this quite a bit, and it was very clear. And this was the vulnerabilities that women have. And those vulnerabilities are realities that we are yet, I don't know whether we'll ever succeed with those realities. And that comes a bit from part of our own gender role responsibilities. It comes from our own gender anatomies and everything to do with who a woman is. And that same beauty and that same vulnerability is used more against them than being empowered to be able to also contribute as they should be to the society. And therefore, I think one of the biggest challenges whenever I have had to kind of do what we call a psychological debrief to someone who has gone through that kind of trauma, because it's very traumatic for someone to be able to find stuff that they would not want to find on the digital space. And more often than not, they are left wondering, okay, maybe someone has used or misused their kind of engagement and interaction, and maybe even used it in a kind of like what we say, put in stuff, I don't know, I'm losing the word, photoshopped. And then put them out there, and they start wondering, could it be, could it be, could it be? You're not sure who it is. And some of them are trusted persons. And remember, what is the aim? The final, aim of the person who is doing this kind of shaming. It's because maybe they have something they are gaining in terms of viewership, or they are gaining it in terms of there's a mental challenge. And when they do this, it gives them satisfaction. And a lot of times you talk of narcissistic kind of tendencies. And they are the ones that are extremely bad, but they are the ones that are subtle, but how it affects the person that they are working against is extremely bad. So that anonymity is extremely challenging to the person who has found themselves in that state. Because you start wondering, who could it be? And if you knew that person, it sometimes even becomes extremely emotionally traumatizing. And so this is where we have a challenge. Whether it's anonymous and anonymous and you start wondering, who is it that may have done this to me? And of course, the same digital platform begins to throw its, you know, suggestions, and then they definitely sometimes you are even blamed for having made yourself available for that kind of thing. Like we always hear that somebody was sexually violated because they didn't dress up well. You know, I'm just wondering, you know, what it is that we could be able to do as well with this digital space. Yeah.
I'm curious because for me, sometimes you'll get a comment and you'll be like, Kwani, this person, they don't know me, but this comment is so personal, you know? And I'd be tempted sometimes to just hit back, and then I'm like, but if I do that, then I give this person validation. And then it forces me, like, a lot of these women, because this data says that nearly 9 in 10 opted to limit their online activity. Yes. I have opted to take that route. I'm very cautious on what I post online because you don't know how it will be received. And then there's also that piling on that happens that maybe Dr. Marygorety can talk about. Is there a mob mentality involved? Safety in numbers, that people are able to bash somebody because they feel tuko wengi in the online space. But Florence, you know, people say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Well, words really hurt. I mean, in fact, when you look at emotional violence, there is no mark left, and it will take, the doctors will tell you, it will take a while for us to see the evidence of how emotional abuse has turned you from the olive we knew to a different olive altogether. And therefore, this one for me, it's worse because by the time we get to know what's happening, you've already either committed suicide or, you know, you've taken very drastic actions around your life. The woman who was killing her daughter, probably these are things that have been going on for a while. Emotional abuse, for example. I'm not saying that that was the case, but if it was an issue of depression and self-esteem and all those things, that is not something that happens once. It continually happens. And while we were talking about keyboard warriors, I always feel that abusers will not easily confront you like face to face. They'll hide behind something. And therefore, the keyboard allows them to do that and abuse you behind the keyboard without you knowing who they are. I mean, I'm sure most of the ladies here, either on Facebook, you've seen that message, somebody sending you hi, like 100 highs. A whole year, this guy doesn't stop. And the minute you respond, a flurry of things. If you don't respond, abuse follows up. Even the committee guys, you know, the ones who call you and say all manner of things. Same thing, using the digital space to get something out of you, but also to really harass you. One thing I wanted to say is that women and people who challenge traditional gender roles by speaking out in male-dominated spaces are regularly subjected to biased media reporting. I'm not saying this media, but in terms of media, social media, the spread of false and content about them and targeted online character assaults, harassment, abuse, and threats continues. I see there's a young girl that posted something when opposition leader Raila Odinga did not show up during the debate, during the debate, yes, the presidential debate. And she posted, she said, you know, Mr. Raila Odinga is like a boyfriend I used to have who gives my expectation, puts my expectation so high and then doesn't show up. The bullying that went online, this girl has never posted about politics, so her first time. They went, trolled her photos, removed her photos, say, look at your face, look at your bum, look at, it went that low. And so when it comes to women, it goes that low. They'll start telling you how your legs are not as beautiful as you thought. I mean, they'll say anything just to bring you down. And so I feel like they will never troll a man like that. I mean, how about saying a man has a big stomach, the way my son says, but how does a man have a big stomach? He's a man and he doesn't carry babies. I mean, so why not? They don't troll men in their physical, but they troll women physically. So online violence against women is something that is global. Not just Kenya, but it is global, and I'm sure that study now shows you that all these countries, it's not just Kenya, it's all over the place. So it is us as a country to deliberately, and I like what Millie Odhiambo was saying, to deliberately put in place structures, laws, regulations that then will ensure that this space is safe. And because Angela is here, she can tell us what kind of laws we are missing, or if we are missing at all. Is it the application of the law, making sure that we have monies to our police to be able to do the work they need to do. Yeah.
All right. So, Angela, since you have been introduced, Angela Minaya, she's an advocate and a program officer, manager? Programs officer, Kictanet, and there's an article I pulled off your website that I want us to look at, because it identifies the gaps that exist within the legal regime. But before then, Dr. Marygorety, is there something to be said for the anonymity that the digital space can provide, as well as a mob mentality that accompanies it, that we pile on people?
Yeah, thank you, Olivia. What I would say is that women and young girls specifically need to be thick-skinned, because digital space is like the public space. And remember, women were meant to be in the private spaces, in their homes, to do all that they should do. And by coming out in the public spaces, they are taking spaces for men, and therefore men must react and push them back to where they belong, and that is in the private spaces. And we have talked about the beauty of the internet, the beauty of the cyber, the beauty of the digital world. It is empowering. And therefore, the young women who are the most users, because they are the ones who are digital savvy, should not be scared. They should go for it, just like we are considering on to go to school, which was a preserve of men. Let us not shy away. Let us not be derailed. I know it affects people emotionally when somebody pulls you down, but that is the tool men have used for a long time, even especially in politics. When they want to pull you down, they bring the issues of sexuality, how you are and what you didn't know come to the fore, so that you feel that you are ashamed. You can't face people, and that is what they are trying to do. If young women are trying to come up to be to serve the society, they are shamed like that. So let us take it as normal, grow thick skin, and strive on, because it is through that space where poverty will be elevated, because you've seen the world richest online user, Alibaba, as I said earlier, is a man and is a billionaire or trillionaire because of the digital platform. So if we shy away from this, if we let young women shy away from it, then we shall be left behind. And it will be, we use the digital platform also to diminish the power of gender stereotypes. Like you heard what Florence was saying, that they talk about your legs, they talk about your shape and all that. These ones are things we know. Let us, when the regulations are not yet there in place, let us block our ears and be deaf, so that we don't hear whatever is coming from, and use it to empower ourselves, use it, because the digital world provides various opportunity, and it is also a social, it also an action of social change. It promotes, it gives you the network you want, the opportunities you want, and all that. So we shouldn't be shy away from it. Instead, let us look at policies which can enhance the gender balance in that space. And you shared with us some statistics on girls not doing well in science, technology, and mathematics and engineering. Let our focus be there, so that we might have as many women as possible in STEM subjects, and maybe when they are there, they can discover an app which will help us trace these people very fast and have them prosecuted so that everybody enjoys being in the public space. As I told you, it is like a public space, and women are not meant to be in the public space, that should be the private. But there we are, we have to be out there because that is where things are found, that is where everything is, and we need to up our games and not be ashamed of whatever they do. I know it is very painful, but let us also counter. I wish we can also counter. Florence, you are in the activism world. Can we have something where you can counter such kind of misuse of technology, because they are making women shy away, like you just heard you just seen what has been shared by Olive. Let us not shy away, let us go on for it. And they say that words, when we can counter it strongly, people will know that it is all malice and it is all not good for existence.